So, Steve, we are here in Boston.
We are.
You were driving me around. We've just spent the last 2 hours talking about AI and communications, policing,
Leadership.
and, we're stepping into a new arena. You're way more experienced than me, but are you as excited as me about AI?
Absolutely. And as I said before, the fact that you're writing this book and you're ahead of the curve, I found myself behind, and I've been trying it probably for a few years. Starts and stops. It works. It doesn't work. I have to argue with it. But AI has evolved and continues to evolve. And so I'm using any number of different platforms to try to find out what are the best. And in my mind, and what we talked about before, is that I think in public safety and the public sector, that if you don't start to use this, there are people that are going to be running circles around you. It can increase your productivity. It can increase your innovation. It can increase your creativity if you just ask it and learn how to maneuver through it and ask the right questions, ask the right prompts.
Well, listen, as somebody who has been working in law enforcement for decades and across the world, and now lecturing and across the world, some people might be listening to this and going, here now, it's okay for Joanne and her marketing and communications peers to be using AI, but definitely not policing. What's your response to that?
I think that's ridiculous. I think you're underestimating. There's a fear, there's a reticence to use it. So I suggest that you try trial and error and just say, you have to feed it information for it to give you better information. So let's say that you are a chief and you're walking into a new organization and you've got a bunch of policies. And I know you're talking a lot about policies. What are the policies? How can we update them? How can we upgrade them? And let it give you some ideas. What's missing? If you ask questions about what's missing, and by the way, what are other agencies doing, it will give you a tremendous amount of information. So without using it, I think you're operating at a deficit, right? Stella drives on one side of Boston, and there's the river. That's the Charles River. This is, if you'll take some pictures, this is the hallowed halls of Harvard in there. And these are a lot of residence halls. And pretty soon, we'll probably see Harvard Square here in a minute.
Bit of a dream come true. Let's digress for a minute. But for this young woman, I say, from Donegal to end up in Harvard is quite a story for me.
It is. When you ever said you were going to Harvard, I thought, how the hell did you get in? No, the fact is that what you're going to attend is really sort of forward thinking to talk about AI and how it could be used in the public sector. Being at the Kennedy School of Government, which is a great institution, is going to be very beneficial, and you'll be with people from all over the world. I'll be curious to know what you've learned, because you can't rock out of there without knowing more than you do when you went in, because we don't know what we don't know.
Well, this is the whole point. We don't know what we don't know. And the key to AI is creating use cases that add value. And so what are some of the use cases? How does AI add value to policing and law enforcement?
Well, it can be anything from, I've got to work on a justification for a new station, for a new set of police cruisers, for a new group of people to be added. And so you feed it data and you ask it questions repeatedly. And to me, AI is all about iterative learning. In other words, you're asking it a little bit of time. One thing I learned just recently, and I know you know that, is that if you feed the proper prompts to AI, no matter what platform, you can ask it to interview you. You can say before you start, I am a police chief looking to do this, and I am curious to know what you need from me in order to give me the best output to understand how to improve morale, how to change the work schedule, whatever the issues are. And you will be shocked at how much information it has. It is, as I said at dinner, we've been using AI, and most cops have used AI almost the last 15 years inadvertently. And what I mean by that is when you say, hey, Siri, give me directions. Hey, Siri, make this call for me. Hey, Siri, what's the weather? That's all AI. And now what happened is you are controlling the input and asking for it to give you output to work for you.
And what do you think the state of play is around AI in law enforcement? Like, what percentage of the sector has embraced it? Because we know that, government, public sector law enforcement are by their very nature, and so they should be considered and conservative. Is this one technological revolution going to be one that's going to leave them behind, or are they going to embrace it for good?
I can't say. I'm trying my darndest to tell people that they really should begin to think about using it and trying it out. They have to protect information, which is really important. I know that that's always a concern. But I think trial and error. Look, should you be writing police reports on it? I'm not sure about that just yet. Can you write policy? Can you come up with some ideas? Can you generate emails to communicate? Can you help it improve communication? It absolutely can. So give that a try first.
So how are you using AI? And because if we're teaching it, we have to practice it. And are you using it every day?
I'm now an abuser, I would have to say. My wife will say, when the hell are you going to get off the computer? Because you can come into a dark rabbit hole when you start, because you're so enthralled with what it can give you. Look, I use it for my writing. I use it for research. I use Notebook LM regularly. I use Claude. I use ChatGPT. And I think what's important is I'm not beholden to one particular platform.
There's just so many, isn't there?
There are. And sometimes I'm playing one against the other, because what I'll find is that Notebook LM will give me a sort of a stellar review and very useful information, but it's not as clean. It's not as conversational as I would like it. So I'll throw it into ChatGPT, or I'll throw it into Claude, or I'll throw it in Perplexity and try those out. And I become shocked at what I get back. And it'll actually find holes in the argument, or this is missing this. It's just amazing. If you're planning, and you have to be very careful, but if you're planning for an event, for a police department, you can give it, here's the days, here's the times, here's how many people I need, this is where I'm going to be, this is where we need to place people. What you and I have said is that you can dictate this, and not in the traditional dictation. It's just stream of consciousness. And AI miraculously makes sense of it. It'll make you sound smart, whether you are or not.
Well, I always say the richest form of communication is from the brain to the mouth, because we edit ourselves lesser because it comes so instantaneously. But when we go from the brain to the pen and the hand,
It slows you down.
It slows you down, and we are doubting ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I love using voice with these large language models and just downloading my stream of consciousness. And I find that I'm doing it more often. So whereas before I try and remember to journal, or I should note take, and it's too laborious because I'm tired after a long day.
This tool for me is something I've been looking for 30 years, and I finally found it. It makes me more productive. It makes me more thoughtful. The real challenge I think I have, and I believe you have, is that you begin to have information overload. And so you have to synthesize that. And you'll say, it's very easy, rewrite this. So I'll tell you a silly story. If this should matter, I was editing my book, and I was reading it on the plane.
This book?
Yes. I was reading it on the plane, and I had markups, and I thought, yes, I'm going to have to make all of these changes. And I went to a bar when I showed up at the hotel I was traveling, and I opened up, I think it was Claude, and I found my document, and I hit the microphone, and I said, go to page 3, paragraph 2, make this change. And you saw it back itself out. And it was almost instantaneously, and it relieved me of so much arduous, painstaking work. and did it for me, and as I sat and had a drink and just spoke.
It's unreal, isn't it?
It
So
is.
do you think it's going to replace us or
No,
give us bigger opportunity?
I think the fear that so many people have is that it's going to replace a human being. Look, to me, it's important for, let's say, a police chief, for a public leader that knows their stuff, can look through and discern whether or not the output is accurate or not, and you can get rid of it. I'll give you another example. So I'm asking for some research, and it shows up with a book in my name, and I go back and I say to it, I'm a professor. I am worried about academic dishonesty, and you're giving me something that I never wrote. So now I need you to figure out what you're hallucinating about. I'm arguing with it, and provide me with links so that I can feel comfortable that the sources you're giving me are accurate. Give me links and I'll double check them. And that's exactly what they did. And it got better and better because I challenged it. But if I had not known that I hadn't written it, or that you hadn't written it, then I might accept that as gospel. And you can't do that, right? It takes the human intervention. It takes human mind to use AI.
Well, you're also a police officer and an investigator of many years. So you're interrogating the large language.
That's exactly right. I'm not sure it's pissed at me because I'm doing that, but that's exactly right. And it gets stronger. And what I'm finding too is it's beginning to understand me and my writing. And so, even I'll give you an example. I was saying, find out some things about Steve Morreale, because I have to write a 2-paragraph about Steve Morreale here. And I know that it didn't have all of that information that I provided. It went out and found stuff that is accurate. And so it really is learning. It has come a long way in the last 2 years and continues to evolve and get better and better and better. We're training it in a lot of ways, again, inadvertently.
Well, Steve, you know what your next move is, and I said this to you over dinner. You need your agent. You need Steve, the AI agent that just encapsulates those decades of experience and that rich lived experience. And imagine when we're gone, our knowledge will remain in the form of an AI agent.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite interesting. And I think you're right. And so I'm excited about it. In fact, I think many people say, my God, you're really excited about it. Well, why wouldn't I be? Because it has advanced my thinking. It has enhanced my thinking. It enhances my writing. And it's allowing me to use my time more fruitfully than I ever was able to do. Some of that, again, I'm sorry that I'm going down here, but I have a very big book that I'm working on, and I needed to organize it. I had all kinds of emails, back and forth from people who I had interviewed that were going to be part of the book. And I just started talking to the machine saying, this is what I've got. This is who I talked to. This is where it's at. This is the email I sent. This is the permission that I have. Make some order of it, make a chart, and bang, it was done. It was done. It took, in short order, it organized my chaotic mind.
Well, on the eve that I go to Harvard, what a great primer for me and what a great way to set me up. Steve, we've known each other for 3.5 years. This is the first time that we've got to meet in person, but obviously we've shared so many stories about our working life and we've had peer-to-peer conversations. Thank you so much for your time driving me around Harvard Square and
We're downtown Boston right now.
Oh, I'm on our way to downtown Boston, but Choosing to Lead is the book. Ideas and Approaches for Leading Police Organizations. What's the message in that book?
Well, generally that when you get promoted, for the most part, especially in the public sector, you're not expected to lead. You're expected to manage. Make sure that this is done. Make sure it's done on time. Make sure it's done properly. And that's that. And what I'm saying is that you have a choice to lead. Manage. Get that out of the way and lead. Lead your people. And in my estimation, once you get a job where you're a leader, it's no longer about yourself, but it's about others. And so creating an opportunity for others to learn and to mentor and to coach them, to me, that's the most important thing. Leading is about relationship. Leading is about trust. Leading is about mutual respect. And that's all it really takes. And so I'm excited to be able to share the book and the ideas in it.
Well, that was a little bit of carpool conversation with Steve and Joanne, and we will leave it there, but to be continued, because I'll join you on your podcast and you'll join me on, well, this is for AI6, so we might put it out a little bit on LinkedIn first. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Glad to have you in Boston.